What if the most painful moments of your life were never meant to destroy you, but to build something inside you that nothing could ever touch? Most people spend their entire lives running from discomfort. They run from criticism. They run from failure. They avoid hard conversations. They collapse under pressure. They let one bad day ruin an entire week. Slowly, without even realizing it, they become fragile. Not because life was too hard, but because nobody taught them how to become unbreakable. The Stoics understood something that most people today have completely forgotten. Emotional strength is not something you are born with. It is something you forge, deliberately, quietly, one painful moment at a time. Stay until the end because the final lesson may completely change the way you see this. Subscribe now and hit the bell, because this channel is built for the people who choose to rise. Think about the last time someone's words knocked the air out of you. A cold dismissal at work. A cutting remark from someone you loved. A moment where someone looked straight through you like you were nothing. It stung, and it stayed with you longer than it should have. Have you ever noticed how one bad comment can follow you for days? Most people react to emotional pain in one of two ways. They either explode in anger, or they shut down in silence. Both destroy them slowly. But here's what most people never realize. Your emotional reaction is not automatic. It is a choice. The Stoics called this the gap between what happens to you and how you respond. Most people never find that gap, but the ones who do become untouchable. Marcus Aurelius said you have power over your mind, not outside events. The next lesson shows you exactly where that power begins. Here is a truth most people are never told. Pain does not make you weak. Avoiding pain makes you weak. Every time you run from discomfort, you teach your mind that you cannot handle it. Every time you numb yourself with distraction, you lose a small piece of your strength. Be honest with yourself. How often do you reach for your phone the moment things feel uncomfortable? The Stoics called voluntary hardship the training ground of the soul. Epictetus, who was born a slave and lost everything, said that men are not disturbed by events, but by the opinions they hold about those events. Few people truly understand what that means. Your suffering is not coming from outside you. It is coming from the story you are telling yourself about what happened. Change the story and you change the experience. Comment strong below if this is hitting home. The next chapter takes it even deeper. There is a moment in every person's life when they face a real choice. Keep carrying the weight of what hurt them, or put it down and keep moving. Most people keep carrying it. They replay the argument over and over. They rehearse what they should have said. They hold on to grudges like weapons, and it destroys them slowly. Here's what most people never see. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think about that. The pain of what might happen is often far worse than the event itself. Very few people are willing to apply this truth to their own lives. But those who do stop wasting energy on what they cannot change and invest it in what they can. That decision changes everything. Keep this firmly in mind, because the next principle builds on it. Most people build their emotional world on things they cannot control. They tie their peace to other people's approval. They link their confidence to their bank account. They connect their happiness to outcomes they cannot guarantee. And when any of those things shift, and they always shift, everything falls apart. Does this sound familiar? The Stoics had a name for this. They called it the distinction between what is up to us and what is not. Your reputation, your results, other people's opinions, not up to you. Your effort, your attitude, your response, fully up to you. Most people spend all their emotional energy on the wrong side. They fight to control things they never could. The man who masters this stops being controlled by the world. He becomes steady, calm, unshakable. This is where real emotional freedom truly starts. And the next chapter reveals exactly what holds most people back from ever getting there. If you are still watching, you are already ahead of most people. Seriously. The majority click away the moment things start to get real. Subscribe if you have not yet. This channel delivers the kind of content that changes how you think and move through life. The best is ahead. Here is something almost nobody talks about. Emotional strength is not about feeling nothing. It is about feeling everything and still choosing how you act. The Stoics were not cold. They were not emotionless robots. Marcus Aurelius felt grief. Seneca felt fear. Epictetus felt pain. But they all learned to observe their emotions without being owned by them. Have you ever watched yourself feel angry, almost like you were watching someone else? That distance, that tiny gap between feeling and reacting, is where your strength lives. Most people collapse that gap completely. The moment they feel something, they become it. They are the anger. They are the anxiety. They are the fear. But you are not your emotions. You are the one watching them. Very few people discover this truth in time to use it. And once you see it clearly, you can never unsee it. The next lesson takes all of this even further. Let's talk about the people in your life who drain you. The ones who criticize everything you do. The ones who doubt you quietly. The ones who celebrate your failures and stay silent during your wins. Most people tolerate this for years without understanding the damage it does. Here is the hard truth. Your emotional environment shapes your emotional strength. If you are constantly around people who pull you down, you are fighting an uphill battle every single day. Epictetus said it plainly. Spend time with people who lift you up and you will rise. Spend time with those who pull you down, and it is almost impossible not to fall. This mistake costs people years of progress. Be honest, is there someone in your life right now who consistently leaves you feeling smaller? Comment AWAK if you know exactly who that person is. Because the next chapter shows you what to do about it. Silence is one of the most underused tools of the emotionally strong. Most people talk too much. They explain themselves. They defend themselves. They justify their decisions to people who were never going to understand anyway. And every time they do, they give away power. Have you ever noticed how the most unshakable people in your life tend to speak less and do more? There is a reason for that. The Stoics believed that unnecessary words were unnecessary vulnerabilities. Every time you over-explain yourself, you are handing someone a map to your insecurities. Every time you argue with someone who is not worth the energy, you spend emotional currency you cannot get back. Few people understand how much strength lives in simply saying nothing. Your silence is not weakness. It is discipline. It is a wall they cannot climb. And what comes next will show you exactly how to build that inner wall even higher. There is one habit that quietly destroys more emotional strength than almost anything else. Comparison. Every time you look at someone else's life and measure it against your own, you are doing damage you cannot even see. You compare your beginning to their middle. You compare your private struggle to their public success. You always lose. This is where most people get stuck for years. Marcus Aurelius said we are not troubled by events, but by our own views of them. When you compare, you are not seeing reality. You are seeing a story you created about reality. Very few people break free from this trap. But those who do redirect all of that energy inward. They stop watching others and start building themselves. They stop measuring their worth against someone else's highlight reel. That quiet shift is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make. The next principle locks it all in. Your body and your mind are not separate things. Most people treat them that way, and it is one of the most expensive mistakes they make. They want emotional strength, but they sleep 4 hours a night. They want mental clarity, but they eat whatever is in front of them. They want resilience, but they sit still for 12 hours a day. Have you ever noticed how everything feels harder when your body is exhausted? The Stoics understood that physical discipline was the foundation of mental toughness. Marcus Aurelius trained like a soldier while running an empire. They were not doing it to look good. They were doing it because a weak body creates a weak mind. Few deeply acknowledge this truth. But if you want to be emotionally unbreakable, start with your physical habits. They are the bedrock of everything else you are trying to build. The final chapter brings all of this together. This is the lesson most people are not ready to hear. The version of you that you want to become already exists. But it only lives on the other side of consistently doing the hard thing when you do not feel like doing it. Not once. Not when you are motivated. Every single day. The Stoics called this living according to your highest self. Not performing. Not pretending. Actually choosing discipline over impulse, clarity over reaction, purpose over comfort, every single day. Many remain stuck forever because they are waiting to feel ready. They are waiting to feel confident. They are waiting for the right moment. But the moment is always now. The unbreakable person does not wait for the storm to pass. They learn to move through it. They build their identity one hard choice at a time. Comment Unbreakable below if you are ready to start building. The very final message is yours. You have just walked through 10 principles that most people will never apply. The gap between you and emotional strength is not talent. It is not luck. It is the daily decision to respond instead of react. To feel without being consumed. To build instead of collapse. Comment Unbreakable below. Let me know which principle hit you the hardest. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video built for your growth. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Remember, your future is being shaped by the decisions you make today. We will see you in the very next video.